We begin with the big news. Keir Starmer is the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, a Labour landslide the likes of which we have not seen in over a decade. Things can only get better, and indeed, it seems that it has. A complete collapse from the Conservative Party, as it seems to have entirely split in two. The Reform Party is now the party of Leave, and we move into a new dawn in the world of British politics. And that's enough of that. It's the last time we'll talk anything English for the next 5 years because, oh my God, things can only get worse for Joe Biden. Today is supposed to be the day that he's going to have a conversation with George Stephanopoulos. George Stephanopoulos of ABC. This will now air as a primetime special. Word is that it was only going to be 20 minutes long. But in the meanwhile, we have seen not one, but two governors that were involved in the little governor's rally that Joe Biden had earlier this week say that Joe Biden either should step down or that his position in the polls was irretrievable. Jared Polis of Colorado, Marsha Healey of Massachusetts. And then for our PX3 audience, good Lord, Bill Sher has fallen. I repeat, Bill Sher has fallen. Bill Sher has been on this show a lot, been on PX3 a lot. We love Bill. Bill's been a co-host, a guest host on PX3. He is somebody whose institutional knowledge of politics and historical grasp of politics is something that I greatly treasure and appreciate. I think he is an amazing mind, and I've actually really enjoyed him this year because he reminded me of a partisan columnist from my youth. Somebody that, you know, if you're gonna stump for somebody, at least be interesting and have bold takes. Like, that's what I want. And I thought he was doing some of the best stuff I've ever heard him write or ever read him write in this cycle, defending Joe Biden. And then today, it's over, Johnny. Bill Sher walking away. Bill Sher saying that Joe Biden's performance, and this is what he's going to be on the show next week, what I'm going to specifically ask him about is what I am dubbing, it's not the crime, it's the lack of cover-up. Because I think the biggest problem here is that the team just needs something to work with. And the fact that Joe Biden has not been able to just call a press conference, go, talk to people, do a thing. It kind of sounds like they just keep saying, hey, run a marathon to a man with no legs. And if Joe Biden ain't got no legs, then that means he can't run. But again, Bill Sher, because he's a professional, all right? Agree with his political takes or not. I'm here to defend good political writing. Bill Sher, in his column about why Biden should drop out, then goes the extra mile. Makes it worth your while. Kamala Harris, Joe Biden should resign the presidency. Kamala Harris should become the president. And they should do it during the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee, not but 2 weeks from now. Now, we disagree on that, and we might talk about it next week. I think that if Joe Biden were to resign, the RNC would gleefully cancel all of their programming and just put it up on the big screen and then hand out free popcorn to everybody so they could watch their handiwork. I don't think that we have talked enough about the scandal element of the Joe Biden thing. And I mean that on a couple levels. While the MAGA machine has been largely dormant, letting Democrats scimitar each other, the one thing that they have done, the email blasts that they have sent out, have had one clear message. Here are all the times that every elected Democrat said Joe Biden was fit and ready for office. And the person who has maybe the most of those, Kamala Harris. You got a lot of this stuff during the Her report. A report which, by the way, was a win for Joe Biden that they turned into a loss. That apparently is a common refrain for Biden 24. Because if they had just stuck to the debate schedule that was already laid out, even if you cut out the Commission on Presidential Debates, but you did the debates after the conventions, you wouldn't be in this situation. So, what happens when the number one questions are, was Joe Biden cognitively impaired during the Afghanistan withdrawal? Was Joe Biden cognitively impaired when discussing the border? Was Joe Biden cognitively impaired while negotiating the American Rescue Plan? Was Joe Biden cognitively impaired when he was negotiating the Inflation Reduction Act? When was this problem so bad that he had to resign the presidency? Because we're past the window for him to say it's a cancer thing. We're at the point now that so many Democrats have had to go on the record talking about this that you need propulsion away from Joe Biden, which means you're going to have to torch him. Somebody is going to have to come out and say, Joe Biden failed this country. Joe Biden lied and hid and blah, blah, blah. At which point, you now need to create publicly lines of demarcation. Who hid it? Why'd they hide it? What did you know? And when did you know it? And then Granite Lorax makes the point, especially if we're talking about this election, no matter what they say, why do we believe you? Why do we believe you? We are talking openly about the Democratic Party hiding mental impairment to the point where the president needs to resign. We don't believe you. You need more people. I don't want to say the idea for a column I have because I need to sit down and write it. These fingers need to work. But my overall thought is, Democrats, listen. Socialists, listen. Anybody to the left of the line in this country, I need you to listen. What is happening with your coalition is not about 2024. It's about 2028. It's about 2032. You need to appreciate that this might be your Watergate. This might be a breaking of trust with the American people that they will not soon forget. And for the record, we're not even at the point where everybody admits that the thing happened. Even Obama came out and said, hey, we all got bad debates. He would be one of the people that could say publicly Joe Biden should step aside. And now it's like, well, wait a minute. You said the opposite a week ago. I wonder if we start hearing stories about Kamala getting the cold shoulder from the Biden staff. Well, now they've been tied closer together. The Biden people have been bringing her closer and closer together. How does this compare to the end of Reagan's term? Reagan was a lame duck. And people were largely happy with his presidency, so much so that they elected his vice president. Merrill, now we're going to care about flip-flops. I call bull on that. The media will make it a deal, but Republicans flip-flop all the time. This isn't a flip-flop. This is the reason why Watergate was the problem that it was for the Republicans for 8 years until Reagan was Democrats could say, yeah, but the Republicans are lying. Remember Watergate? That's powerful. They're hiding it. They're hiding it. They're hiding it like they hid Biden. Do you really believe them? I don't. That's that rhetorical. Again, the shorter it is, the more powerful it is. It's the reason why Trump's toxic, because you can just go, I don't know, Trump. Boom. Easy. Passes through. You don't got to explain a lot. What you want to do, if you are the Democrats, is to reorder your house and make the people who have brought this upon you pay publicly. You need to exile them. Tonight's 15-minute interview is going to backfire. Well, here's the problem. What you want in a crisis, and I've said this before, political crisis, PR crisis, whatever. What you want in a crisis is for yesterday to be the same level of news as today. You just want to level it off. You don't want new news, because that's the problem in a spiraling crisis, is that every day there is a certain amount of news and everyone's like, oh, and then new news comes out. Ah, whoa, up. What you want is to level it. Say, okay, can everybody calm down? And oftentimes that is aided by time, weekends, other news breaking. You know, what you would want today, and I'm sure it's probably happening, is for Joe Biden to be calling Keir Starmer in the UK, doing presidential shit. But you've already had enough shit that happened on a national holiday, no less. I would encourage everybody to read Olivia Nudzi's article in New York Magazine, wherein she is live at or first person at Joe Biden's first fundraiser in New Jersey. She then first person describes meeting Joe Biden up close at a photo line. And in the middle discusses what she had heard rumor-wise amongst Democratic mega donors and at cocktail parties through D.C., and the fact that it was horseshoe theory, nearly exactly what was being discussed at Trump rallies. In short, Joe Biden isn't the president. He's a puppet, and we don't know who's really running the show. The difference was that the mega donors had met Biden, and the mega donors had had horrifying experiences, like having Joe Biden forget their names. We don't know if it's only 15 minutes. That was a rumor, an ABC rumor. It is not already taped. It's going to tape today. I'm glad Biden is doing something, but I don't get the strategy behind going on Stephanopoulos. Everybody wants to see him do unscripted, off the cuff stuff. This isn't that. At best, he maintains his current level of support. Yeah, it's not going to shut anybody up. It's really a only lose situation, because either everyone's going to be looking for flaws. And I think we've seen enough. Like, he went out yesterday, he did an unscripted thing talking to the armed forces people that were there for the fireworks. He did scripted remarks that didn't come off great. I don't think his unscripted remarks came off great. You've got the blue Baghdad Bobs on Twitter that were like, this is the unscripted Biden that the media won't let you see. And it's like, the media's helping you, dog. He fucked up during a couple radio interviews that he did. The reality is, if you put him out in front of a microphone, he's a liability. And on one hand, that was always the case with Joe Biden. So you take a rickety machine and then age it and rust it 50 years. Yeah, this was Biden on the radio. By the way, I'm proud to be, as I said, the first vice president, first black woman to serve with the black president. Joe Biden, you ain't black. I am. What are we watching for? We're watching for whether or not he is going to be the president of the United States. When Bill Sher is calling for you to resign, when Bill Sher is going full Oberman, resign, sir, resign. we're on a different planet, man. We're in a pocket universe. Speaking of pocket universes, we started watching X-Men 97 last night. And I gotta say, I am loving it. I think it's great. It's actually like fun X-Men. I don't know why they fired that dude. Maybe because he was like an asshole, but like I thought that dude was great. And also, even it's like it's preachy in the right ways. It's preachy in the way that X-Men is good at being preachy, which is like about prejudice and doing these like very clear allegories to the civil rights leaders of like, you know, Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. That broad idea of accelerationism and violence versus nonviolence. It's an interesting. I think it's good. I think it's really good. I was having a good time with it. It was because he was doing an OnlyFans. Man, we gotta let artists be artists. Just if the art's good, show your hog, dude. Show your hog. It gets to be preachy because of the format. The same dialogue in live action wouldn't work. Yeah, I would agree with that on some level because part of the reason why it's good is that it just constantly gives you all the fun stuff of X-Men. You get to see a bunch of cool powers. You get to see Magneto like rip out the UN and lift it into the outer atmosphere. Like these are things that would have to be very specifically done or would cost a lot of money in terms of CGI. So you couldn't do them at the pace that you do them in the cartoon. But I think the general idea, I mean, look, there's a reason why, you know, Bryan Singer was the high watermark for X-Men with X-Men and X2. And part of it was some of the idea of how do humans react to mutants? And then mutants, how do mutants react to that reaction? That's the kind of core element of alienation. And then you get into, and maybe it's just because I'm reading a lot about 1968 currently, but like the general thought processes of the differences between a Martin Luther King and like a Stokely Carmichael or a Malcolm X or the Black Panthers, where the question was, how do we accelerate this process? Violence is an option. And you also just get the fun, like, I don't know, like Bishop's there and he's going back to his alternate future and they send the baby. Yeah, just fun X-Men stuff. I don't know. I was digging it. It was great. Well, all right, look, we got 15 minutes left. Because we're doing our first meeting with our doula. So this is going to be a truncated episode. If we take calls, we have to take calls now. So we will open up the phone lines 510 404 8030. Let's go. 510 404 8030. Scrimshaw will be on the show as well. Scrimshaw will be on the show next week. I don't know when next week. But yeah, if you want to call in, 510 404 8030. All right, let's see. I remember we had a problem with this last time. Merrill, can you hear me? Oh, my speaker volume is too low. Hold on. All right, all right, all right. Do. Microphone. Okay. Well. Hold on. Tech support. Okay, this is that, right? No. Yes, it is. Okay. All right. Well, I don't know. What the hell is happening then? Ah. Okay, well, that I think fixed it. Now we fix. All right. I don't know why it keeps ringing. Oh, I know why. There we go. Okay. Merrill, call back. Let's see if it works now. I think I figured it out. Hello, Moto. Does this change the President Kardashian timeline? I mean, we might be at an acceleration at this point. Merrill, call back. All right. Merrill, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. What's popping?
Hooray! All right. Before my political question, how far into X-Men '97 are you?
3 episodes. 3 episodes.
3?
Yeah.
All right, I won't say anything else. Then I will wait. Here's the only thing I wonder on the whole Biden thing is, was there a path to recovery? And I say that with this in mind. The incumbent notoriously has bad first debates, right? That is a thing. Watching your debate coverage.
Yes, and
no. Let me hear because
then go.
No, but it's particularly Biden's was very bad. Was there ever a path to recovery for what would have been the normal first debate jitters of the incumbent situation?
From that debate with his weaknesses, no. I mean, I think, again, you can make the argument, and I might make the argument, that the debate was lost within the election was lost within the first 15 minutes. Now, what you are dealing with now is the future of the party. You are dealing with how do you handle the future of the party?
Does the party have a future right now?
Yes. Don't. I mean, like, everybody's going to be down, but no. Look, the Senate candidates are doing well. You know, I think that there's a positive spin on the idea of like, oh, okay, well, if we could just cleanly replace Biden and Kamala, then everything will be great. Then Kamala will poll like the Senate candidates. And I think that that's giving short shrift to the idea that the Republicans are going to make this into Watergate. And I think that the public might be on their side because we've spent the last 8 days talking about how this is a scandal. You've had words like conspiracy and oligarchy being used by otherwise friendly press resources for the Democrats. So it's like, yeah, I do think that there's a major problem. I think that there's a huge problem, and I think it's gonna follow Kamala.
Regarding the Watergate comparison, though, Watergate was based around an actual crime that took place, though, right?
Well,
can you make that comparison?
All right. The crime of Watergate was the president abusing their powers to have political efficacy, which he didn't need, as it turned out. The crime here would be, did 13 Marines die in Afghanistan because the president was mentally incompetent? Did the people that were killed by migrants who were let in die because the president was incompetent? Is the war in Ukraine going the way it is? Are there Americans currently hostage with Hamas because the president is mentally incompetent? Are more people dead in Gaza because the president is mentally incompetent? So you want to know what? The more I talk about this, it's worse than Watergate. Because you can tie so much more stuff to the cover-up of the president's mental acuity, because you're not going to be able to run away from it if you're pushing him off the stage. You either got to close ranks and say it's not as bad, run this old rickety ship into the into the rocks, and then say, all right, toss Joe Biden's corpse out of the car, and that's that. But if you move him out, then there's a reason you're moving him out. And if you're moving him out, then the American people deserve answers. When did it get this bad? And if anybody who's been saying he's still sharp, why did they keep saying that right up until they chucked his old corpse out of the car?
Okay. Fair. Okay, last question regarding Kamala, because I always liked your take for weeks that if Joe Biden resigned and Kamala went in, she has not only incumbent advantage, but then the message is basically, I dare you to not vote for the first black
woman president. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you think that card isn't enough in November if that's what takes place?
Everything is in the details. So let's paint the rosiest picture, right? Let's say that Joe Biden understands this is not feasible, and he understands the problem that he has put out there. And when he resigns, he says, ladies and gentlemen, I am here to come clean with the American people. I have known that I have been in decline for whatever, make up a period of time. I have hit it. I lied. I put my pride before the country. Any problems that you have, you put on me. I'm man enough to say that this was my fault, and I deserve all of the blame for it. I am a blame sponge, and now I am going to shuffle off the stage. And that way everybody can say, wow, oh my God, no wonder I was lied to by Joe Biden. Kamala steps in. She's the first president. Her and Keir Starmer figure out a new secret handshake. Things get better in Gaza. She can now trumpet that the border is different and better. The economy keeps getting better. And first black woman president. She's doing her thing at the sorority events that she's going to go do, the black sorority events. And now you're daring black women. You're daring black men to not vote for her. In that world, yeah. Is that world our world? No, there's no way Joe Biden is going to fall on his sword like that. Zero chance. Zero chance.
If he resigns, what would the excuse be, you think, at this point?
Well, that the devil's in the details, right? Everybody just wants him to like step aside, but you got to have a reason. Because if the reason is my brain is pudding, then the answer is when? When did you know your brain was pudding?
I mean, one could argue that if your brain's pudding, you don't know when. Like,
then when did everybody, even worse, when did everybody else around you know it?
I mean, I will fight back a little bit because I have some relatives a relative who's going through that right now, right? And I say some because one has died. It's not like there's a switch flip, and anyone who's watched it happen with a relative knows that you don't see a switch. It's not like one day they're cognizant.
I get it. Meryl, I'm going to stop you. They're not the president of the United States.
Okay, fair.
Like, I understand it. It's a very human process. There's a reason why people have noticed it. and recognized it in Joe Biden because they know it and recognize it from their own lives. They ain't the president. We're not talking about people living and dying. We're not talking about the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan. We're not talking about the border. We're not talking about the economy. We're not talking about any and everything that he has handled not great. And now all of that is going to get put on mental incompetence, and everybody around him, the question is going to be, why didn't you say anything? Why did you let it get this bad?
All right. Have a good appointment with your Zula, man. Happy Friday, and hopefully.
I know. All right, here we got time for one more call. We got time for one more call here. It's so hard taking the nuclear football from Grandpa. Yes. If Kamala got to finish this term, who's her vice? Well, I mean, now we're entering into, I would hope they would try to settle it before the convention, but I think we would actually get the journalist's wet dream of a contested convention. Maybe it's Hunter Biden. Who was on crack? Somebody else brought up again that it was a year ago they found coke at the White House and then couldn't determine whose coke it was. Hello, who's this?
It's Object in Space.
What up, dog? What's on your mind?
Oh, nothing much. Just, watching the end of everything. Increasing alarm.
Yeah, no, it does look like that sometimes. All right, well, what's your thought? We got 4 minutes to go.
Yeah. Oh man. So all right. Well, just on that, it's annoying. I'm very annoyed. It's really the Supreme Court immunity, I think, is what broke it for me. But I've now turned into the kind of pants shrieking liberal that I told people on Twitter to calm down about in 2017, and I'm extremely irritated by this. I'll just ask one thing I saw lately that I thought was kind of neat. There was a debate on Ukraine on counterpoints, which I think is the Ryan Grimm thing of breaking points between Dave Smith and Vosh about Ukraine. And it's very weird because I normally would be the libertarian-y sort of, we shouldn't be meddling in other people's wars and it's bad. But I find myself increasingly falling on the neocon liberal position that actually we should stop land grabs are bad and we should stop them, and that's good. And it's just strange to me that on this thing you've got this guy who's sort of right wing who is saying that at the end he says that we should leave NATO, which is okay, dog, yeah, we'll just put the tail right between the legs and just.
Well, I mean, look, there is a line with libertarian thinking that I think gets into the idea that it's actually kind of intersectional with really leftist thinking, that America causes more problems internationally than we solve, and that everything would just kind of work out if we just stop sticking our nose in it. Sure. And that's a philosophical thing. I tend to think that America has a capacity for good, and that while we often can meddle in things that we probably shouldn't, it doesn't mean that an American-led order to the world is not a good thing for the rest, a net good for the world. But yeah, that is something that's very interesting. Is that is a horseshoe theory of the kind of far left and libertarian right.
Yeah, and then because Vosh, I believe his channel is described as a self-described gay socialist. It's making the argument that yes, we should use American power, our military might, to solve this problem. It's very. All right.
Well, let me ask you this, because I gotta wrap this up in 1 minute.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. I think we're actually gone because the person at the door. Thank you very much.
Right.
I will see you
Thank you,
later.
sir.
There we go. That's it, friends. I will see you. Bye bye.